And welcome back to part 10 of What If the Third Hokage Had Adopted Naruto Uzumaki. So we just got done with the invasion of the Sound and the Sand, and now we are dealing with the unfortunate passing of the Third. And that's where we pick up. We pick up at the Third's funeral, but this isn't just like Konohamaru who's like crazy, oh, God, Grandpa Hokage, and all that. No, Naruto, this affects Naruto much differently than it did in the original. Obviously, Naruto is very, somber and, looking, down and dour. Here, it's like this is the man who helped raise him. This is basically his grandfather. And while I don't think Naruto is like openly weeping, he's fighting back the tears. It's like he's got tears in his eyes. Just there. He's kind of inconsolable. Like his Sakura and Sasuke both go to find him, and they don't know where he is right now. He's just he's not that at the clan compound, wherever the Sarutobi clan compound is. He's not he's not in the usual spots. He's just wandering basically at the moment, and he's finds himself on the Hokage mountain, just monument. Sorry, monument, just staring off and such, just kind of dead. He's just when you lose someone, part of you kind of just is gone, and that's what it is. And he's just doesn't know what to be doing with himself. And obviously, then Jiraiya shows up. It's like, oh, there you are. Everyone's been worried sick about you, kid. It's like, sorry, and he just says, sorry. What can I say? Here, you don't look like you haven't had anything all day. He pulls out the popsicle. He pulls out on the tray, and Naruto just looks at it, and he reaches out, but he doesn't really do anything with it, and Jiraiya just munching on his a little bit, allowing the silence and his presence to kind of sink in. Finally, it opens up. He's no longer got the smiley face. He's now like he knows because he didn't just Naruto doesn't look his friend. He also lost his sensei. I mean, we see Jiraiya in the anime at least looking at Kakashi and Yukito as they're at the memorial stone. Jiraiya thinking back to his days and reminiscing. But at the same time, this is a kid, and this is someone who lost someone very important, family basically to him. Jiraiya's not gonna miss words. And Jiraiya just like kind of looks at it, I'm not gonna tell you it's gonna be easy, kid. This is the lives we choose. Ninja Hokage, from ninja to Hokage. Eventually, you are going to lose someone you care about, and it's never going to be any easier. I won't tell you not to mourn, kid, because to quote WandaVision, or paraphrase WandaVision, WandaVision, I'll tell you to grieve, not to grieve, kid, because grieving means your love perseveres. Or I can see that being the thing that snaps Naruto finally out of it after they're having a conversation. Naruto's pepped up a little bit, but he's still not there. Then Jiraiya just says, "But it's death is a funny thing. It shows us who we really are, and grief is actually kind of is in itself a savior." And Naruto looks and is like, "What? After all, kid, what is grief if not love persevering, right?" And that kind of that line kind of just makes Naruto kind of snap out of it a bit more. Like he actually Naruto comes to out of his stupor finally. He realizes like he kind of actually has to put a smile laugh on his face, even though that line seriously helped him. Is like he'll take that to his dying days. He does poke fun at like, would you could pull that out of like some TV show or something like that? Hey, now come on, just because I did doesn't mean it's not a good line. Doesn't mean it's not true. And they kind of actually share a laugh, and Naruto finally snacks on what's left of the popsicle. Is hey, Jiraiya Sensei. Jiraiya's actually probably didn't call him perfect. He says Sage. And he just he turns his back as he's getting ready to kind of head home and check in on Sakura and Sasuke, Hinata, and Kakashi, the people in his life who cares about, who he knows is worried about him. Thanks. And he heads out and Jiraiya just gives us that kid. I didn't even get to tell him about our little trip coming up. I'll give him some time. So Naruto goes out, finds Sasuke, Hinata, Sakura, lets them all know that he's okay. Both Hinata and Sakura give him a really big hug. I was so worried. He's like, are you okay? He's like, yeah, okay. I had to talk with Jiraiya and Jiraiya Sensei, and I'm not 100%. I'll get there. Don't worry. And, and Sasuke, I was about to say that would have been an awkward moment. No, Sakura just gives him a big hug and a big kiss on the cheek. No, it's like, yeah, I'm glad you're better. It's like, yeah, it's like, yeah, thanks. And now, it's like, it's like, oh no. When that happened, oh no. It's like, yeah, I'm glad. And she goes and gives him a big hug too, because like, no, I'm not losing to you, Sakura. It's like, yeah, and then she finally works up and there's like, and it's not as like the big kiss that Sakura gives him on the cheek, but it's still like, she gives him a nice little kiss on the cheek. And Sasuke's just looking at this like, when the hell did this happen? Like Sasuke's not really interested in girls at this time, but even he's like, how the hell does this idiot get this lucky? And Sakura again. And now Naruto's kind of like, oh my god, they both kissed me on the cheek. He's kind of like, again, a little spaced out. And both Hinata and Sakura are just like, I'm not losing to you. But meanwhile, they kind of go back, help setting the village back up to a certain, standard. Eventually, the elders do approach Jiraiya about taking over the mantle of Hokage. Now, again, some people have been bringing up the whole spy network, as far as I know, or as far as we know, is actually kind of a network of fanon. Or fan canon, if you will. It's actually never been fully stated, from what we can tell, that the spy network is what Jiraiya basically works on. However, there's been enough implications about it to say that it is probably what Jiraiya does, along with searching for Orochimaru. That was one of his big things. But Jiraiya is just kind of a wandering sage. That's what he does. But he's still loyal to the Leaf. He's still a ninja of the Leaf by all accounts. So he still shows up at the Leaf now and then. But his excuse was he wasn't cut out for the role. It's debatable whether or not Jiraiya would have been a good Hokage. I mean, Tsunade was not the worst Hokage. Well, I mean, let's actually think on that for a second. Was Tsunade actually the worst Hokage? I will actually say no. I do not think Tsunade was the worst Hokage. Because the second's basically the reason the Uchiha coup happened. Now he did give them authority in the police, to create the Konoha police organization that they ran to try to alleviate that, but ultimately that kind of made it worse. Tobirama was very cold and untrusting of the in general, but the Uchiha particularly. So I don't think Tsunade was the worst Hokage. I think Tobirama, the second Hokage, was the worst Hokage. But that's my opinion, strictly mine. Anyway, if you're really looking for it, there is one other one. So you're talking about Tsunade. So yep, yeah, it's like very well. Till then, no, we'll have to appoint a temporary Kage. As a by the way, there's one other thing. I'll be taking the Saratoga boy. I'll be taking Naruto with me. So, the Uzumaki, Hiruzen's adopted ward. Lord, you seem to have been taking an interest in him, Jiraiya. Well, of course, he is my sensei's grandson, after all, adopted grandson. And to which Jiraiya, who I believe is an orphan as far as you know, actually looks at them and does give them a bit more of like, oh, it's like a family's family no matter what. If you remember, I was an orphan myself. So you best take care of how you approach this subject. And like, we actually don't know how strong the elders are, but it is implied that they were pretty powerful shinobi in day because they were on the same team as Saratobe and Danzo. So it's implied they were pretty strong back in the day. It may still be very powerful. We've seen how powerful some old shinobi are. Saratobe, Onoiki, hell, Grandma Chio. So just because they're old doesn't mean they still Danzo. So just because they're older doesn't mean they still couldn't kick some ass. But I fully believe Jiraiya would beat their asses pretty hard. And they're both like, right, of course, we meant nothing by it. Just remember, he is still our valued container. We do not wish to have the fox captured by any stretch of means. It's like, and keep in mind too that that container is still a person no matter what. no matter what he may hold inside of him. And so Jiraiya is like, hey, Naruto. Oh, hey, pervy sage. Oh, come on. What happened? You're calling me Jiraiya for a while. That's good. Yeah, but that's because I was emotional. No, I don't care. You're pervy sage until you stop being a pervert. Ugh, brat. Anyway, I actually want to talk to you about something. And it's about going to find the third's replacement. What? The third's? Well, I mean, can't you do it? While I'm qualified, I'm not cut out to be Hokage, kid. But that's why we're going to be looking for their other teammate. Naruto stops and thinks, you mean Tsunade? We're going to go look for Tsunade? That's right. Hey, that's right. Oh, that's right. I forgot. You probably knew about us thanks to Grant, or the old man. So I'd like to take you on a little training trip to go find him. Training trip? Yeah, I'll teach you a cool technique, kid. And Naruto's like, all right, cool, sweet. And so they get ready. Make sure to tell Sakura, Hinata, and tell Team 7. All right, so I'm gonna be out for a little bit on a training trip. You guys take care. All right, bye, Naruto. Bye. We'll see you when you get back. And so they head out. And now we basically just get the whole conversation with. And now the whole Itachi thing that goes verbatim. Like, there's nothing I need to talk about that happened there that is different here. Jiraiya talks about the fourth, and Naruto points out how the Hokage, particularly the third and the fourth, were his heroes. And that Jiraiya was his sensei. And it's like, that's amazing. In fact, the technique I'm going to teach you is actually a technique the fourth came up with himself. Really? Can you show me now? It's like, Jiraiya is actually like, I don't know why I can't show you right now. And, he shows off the Rasengan and he's like, whoa! Say, that's right. It's not an easy technique, but don't worry. There's steps to learning, and I'll show you each step along the way. For now, let's get into the village. And really, nothing changes until we get to the knock on the door. And Naruto's like, it's been a while, pervy sage. What's taking you so long? It's like, Naruto, we'd like you to come out. It's like, who is this guy? He looks same eyes as Sasuke. Is this Itachi? And Naruto, unfortunately, there isn't much different about Naruto here where that scenario doesn't change. Where, he has to walk out and Sasuke says, I finally found you, Itachi. I did what you asked. I cultivated my hate for you. I'm going to take you down. Now, Sasuke is stronger in this, but it does not matter. Like, the gap between Itachi and Sasuke is huge. Still, so it just cracks. Like, you don't have enough hate. You know something, little brother? You never will. And, he forces him to open his eyes and Tsukuyomi. And, Sasuke, and Naruto's like, no, Sasuke, goes into his fox chakra, but Kasame eats it up, and then Jiraiya comes, traps him in the toad stomach, and then they get out of there with Amaterasu. Guy comes in, cracks Jiraiya in the jaw, and now we're back to where we originally were. So, Jiraiya obviously shows off the Rasengan, popping the ball is the first step of it. Naruto gets that. Partially because of his wind chakra, and he's just got much better chakra control, it actually doesn't take long for him to do the one pop with the one hand. And just pop, and eventually he has to go through all the water balloons just to make sure he's got it. Now, then Jiraiya hands him the ball. The ball, obviously, is still trickier to do, and Naruto has a lot harder of a time to do it. Eventually, he does settle on the... boom! Pops it with both his hands. He's despite his chakra control being better and wind chakra, because of the type of teaching it is, and the type of person Naruto is, even at this time, he has to use both hands. Ultimately, then Jiraiya shows him the final take. Now, Naruto tries it with the one hand. It's not working. He does ultimately, though, get it with the, I always did like that kind of just thing he did. But he does ultimately, though, get it with the one hand. He can't get it with the one, or the two hands, sorry. Can't get it with the one hand yet, but then once he compresses it, he can basically just, use it as such. And basically, Jiraiya is like, I gotta say, kid, I'm impressed. It took me a year and 3 years to make that thing, to get that down. And he's like, oh, really? It's like, wow, that must be amazing. Of course, we were able to do it with one hand, no problem. You seem to be having a bit of a trouble getting that. Shut up! It's like, I'll get it down in one hand. You pressed away. I'd still practice with two hands just to get down the feeling of it. Yeah, makes sense. And so Naruto's not just practicing it with it. He did a little bit of this to kind of get the form, but now he's just, and now Naruto's even practicing like kind of making it bigger and smaller a little bit. Not like great Baller Sengan or Dama Sengan, but They're smaller still. Like maybe it's it's the standard Rasengan is maybe about the size of a I'm trying to think of a size ball here. Not a softball because that's actually pretty big. Maybe a softball, more like a baseball or a big baseball. So maybe you can get like to a softball size instead of like a volleyball, but like something a little bigger. And Jiraiya's actually impressed by that. It's like that's interesting. And Naruto's now once they get to the town Tsunade's in, he's almost guys like almost all right. We're here. God damn it! You broke my concentration. Sorry, kid, but we're here. And they go in the tavern and they see Tsunade there, drunk off her ass. And say, hey, Tsunade, what? Jiraiya. And she blinks like, it can't be the fourth. No, that's not the fourth. No, it's just a little mini clone of him. What the hell? What are you doing here, Jiraiya? What? Can an old friend come by, hunt down another old friend and see how she's doing? No, they can't. What do you want? As perceptive as ever. Look, we need to talk. And it's like, yeah, the third died, I heard. And it seems just to be the reunion of old friends today. It's like, reunion? What? You mean, oh yeah, Orochimaru, he found me out, wanted me to heal his arms, what the third did to him. And you agreed? I didn't agree to anything, Jiraiya. But, and that's it. I'll do what I want, how I want. And Naruto's just listening. It's like, is this Tsunade? Is this crotchety old bat Tsunade? It's like, the third died a fool. And now this is like, what? It's like, the Hokage is just a fool's errand. He just died a fool's errand. Why would anyone want to be Hokage anyway? And, she's just insulting it. And Jiraiya's listening is like, this is not the Sagai I remember. What happened to her? But also he's like, oh, Naruto. And Naruto's just like, Ugh. Now this is more or less than the outburst. This is more than the outburst he has in the original. This is him like he's got his hands on his trench knives. He's like, and it's like, please. It's like, why are you so touchy? Why? What are you? What's your problem, Brett? My problem is the disrespectful old hag in front of me. And Jiraiya's like, oh crap! What did you just call me? What did you just call me, Brett? What? So do you need a hearing aid, old woman? I called you a disrespectful. I was like, you got a lot of nerve talking to me. You got a lot of nerve talking about my grandfather that way. So now it's like, what? Grandfather? What? You mean the third? You're the third's grandkid? Naruto was adopted by the third. His full name's Naruto. It was the Maki Sarutobi. And Naruto and Tsunade does pick up on that name. He's like, well, whatever. The third dot. He shouldn't have been. He was too old to be keeping this up. He should have dropped out when he had the chance. Like, that's enough. And then, he actually Naruto just gets his. He doesn't have his chakra flame because he's still aware he's in a public place, but he's still making. He's like, that's it. I'll show you what it means to be disrespect my disrespect the old man. It's like, you want to go, Brett? Fine, we'll go take it outside. And Naruto's ready, got the trench knife, say, I don't need to sully my hands or anything, but one finger's all it's going to take. And Naruto's got his trench knife, so he just got his blaring. And Tsunade's actually like, chakra knives, trench knives. Azuma, Brett. No one, of course. If he was adopted by Sarutobi, Azuma probably would have should have meant to use this, but the fact he's got wind chakra, that's interesting. Naruto just makes a couple clones, actually comes right in at Tsunade, who's a little bit surprised that he's coming in at this ferocity. He's like, you're really not holding back? All right, get fine. Just boom, 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 boom. Naruto, though, surprising her, and lengthens the blade an extra foot. And she actually gets a nick on her collar. And what? And she actually, no, don't look. Did he nick me? It's like, and she can feel it. But she's not looking at it. It's like, no. It's like, and she just heals it up as quick as she can. Why? Just don't look at it. Don't think about it. And Naruto can see something's up with her now. She's a bit more unhinged. And Tsunade's even thinking, like, so she hasn't gotten over that fear yet. It's like, you little brat. I'm going to enjoy this. It's a great breakthrough. She just powers through that. But it slows her down enough that Naruto's able to barely sidestep her. She's able to graze him, though, and graze from Tsunade is still just... And get up! And she actually gets, again, hit surprising, but it doesn't like knock her out like it does the game. She does get a little bit of a gut check. Well, I gotta hand to you, Brett. You are tougher than you look. Uh, and Naruto then comes in again, just clones. Oh, please, will you give this a rest? Just pops, pops, crack, pops. All of a sudden, she hears the Rasengan. Rasengan! Impossible. That technique? As she sees him form it, and then with both hands, just, it's like, and she just clashes, and it hurts her finger a little bit. Like she does rub like the blood, like her fingers rubbed raw, and therefore bleeding. But she is able to disperse it with her fingers. It's like, ah, crap! And he goes flying. It's like you really are tenacious. I'll give you credit, Brad. It's been a while since anyone's been able to injure me at all. But and she quickly just uses her chakra. She uses her healing ability, her mystic palm. Fortunately, she catches sight of her finger. Just Naruto's like, what is? And Naruto remembers she was like that when I cut her first. She didn't even look at it. She just healed it without looking. You're afraid of blood, aren't you? What's the matter? Afraid to look at some blood? And Tsunade actually goes, what? It's like, you heard me. Afraid to look at some blood? Well then, let's crank it up a notch, shall we? And then all of a sudden, Naruto just pulls out some shuriken. And here's one I'm pulling out randomly. Ninja Shadow Shuriken Jutsu, strike from the old man. And then about a dozen more shurikens show up. Great breakthrough! And she just, because and Jiraiya's like, is he really trying to kill her? But he knows Tsunade wouldn't die from that because she's able to get away. But ultimately it does the trick because it cuts her up a little bit. Like, damn it! Little no, the blood, no. And then finally Naruto's like, got you! And then Jiraiya actually steps in. That's enough, Brett. That's enough, kid. He's like, what? I actually had her. You had her on a tech. Yeah, technically you did. And Shizune comes and heals her up. And starts healing her up, starts healing the cuts. And Tsunade's nowhere near as freaked as she is in the original because she hasn't seen a lot of her injuries, whereas Kabuto literally just doused her in his blood. But she's still seen enough where she's shaken. She's starting to shake a little bit back and forth. And like, yeah, you would have won, but would have been a solid victory. What are you talking about? She's like, look at her, kid. She's completely zoned out. She's completely petrified of what's going on. And Naruto actually looks at her and actually looks at her down and just sees a scared woman, like completely. And Naruto now actually is like, finally calms down after what's going on. It's like, And Naruto's like, yeah, you might have beaten her, but would have been a good victory. I mean, at that point, you would have just been attacking a frail, feeble woman. And Tsunade just, shut up, Jiraiya. Just shut up. To which Naruto's like, gets his headband. And it's like, I guess you're right. It's like, I don't know. And Naruto actually confronts her, like, I don't know what your deal is. I don't know what happened to you. But just because you're hurting doesn't mean you get to hurt others. Which that's something, I think that's something no one ever brought up to Tsunade at that point. And at least I don't recall. And it's really a poignant line. It's like, hurt people hurt people. That's the famous line where it's like, if you're hurt, you hurt others to make yourself feel less terrible. And I feel like someone, like, if Naruto had, like, said that or looked her in the face, actually helped her, like, Suzune, he actually went and got, like, a napkin and helped clean her off a little bit, and Tsunade just looks at her. She sees Don, she sees Nawaki, but she also sees Naruto looking at her, kind of sympathetic, but also with a look, it's like, I don't know what happened, I'm sorry for what happened to you. I don't know what, to have you be like this around blood, do you like this? It must be terrible. But just because you're hurting doesn't mean you get to hurt others back. You think before you speak. And this actually, I think, even though Tsunade is a very stubborn person, I think this guy, especially because she's seeing Nawaki and Don in him as well, this does ring a bell, like ring something. It's like, she's been lashing out and just been completely self-destructive this whole time, without considering how she's affecting others. And Naruto basically is like, I suppose it's like just point me where the hotel is. Pervy stage. I'm tired. And Jiraiya just kind of like looks at it, like, yeah, I'm not obviously we're not done here, but take some time. And Jiraiya goes and they go get a room. So this is where we're gonna leave off part 10. Naruto actually beats Tsunade in a fight. Oddly, obviously, it was through a technicality, but he beat her in the fight. And yeah, so how does this play out later on? We'll find out in the next part on Wednesday. But thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, if you want us to review something, put the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. Hit that bell if you want to be notified. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you folks later. Thanks for watching. Bye.